1966 sounded like nothing before it and nothing after it. One wild electric year, it felt like every radio in the country was playing the same secret handshake. Gas was 32 cents a gallon. A color TV was still a luxury most families didn't own. And somehow, almost every teenager in America owned the exact same 7-inch piece of vinyl at some point before that year was over.
What does he care?
10 songs made 1966 unforgettable. Some of them you'll remember instantly, the second the first note hits. One of them, later on this list, was almost too honest for the man who wrote it to sing himself, so he handed the microphone to someone else entirely. 10 songs, 1 year. Do you remember them all? Let's go back. Number 10, Wild Thing, The Trogs. A cheap transistor radio balanced on a windowsill. A bedroom door barely shut against the sound of parents downstairs. Volume cranked all the way up, on 3 chords that don't need to be smart to make you feel something. This song wasn't even written for the Trogs. Songwriter Chip Taylor scribbled it as a throwaway demo for a completely different band, never expecting much from it. The Trogs cut their version fast and cheap on almost no budget at all in a single afternoon session. That strange little solo in the middle, the one that sounds like a toy, is a toy. Singer Reg Presley played it on a plastic ocarina he'd picked up on a whim and nailed it in one take. It became the first song every garage band in America learned, because it proved you didn't need talent or money. You just needed 3 chords and nerve. A year later, Jimi Hendrix set his guitar on fire performing this exact song at Monterey Pop, and the moment became rock history. To this day, it's one of the most covered songs of the entire decade. Cost almost nothing to make. Went to number 1 anyway, from a plastic toy instrument to a sound America had genuinely never heard on the radio before. That's exactly where we're headed next. Number 9, 96 Tears and the Mysterians. Some hits don't come from studios with plush carpet and gold records on the wall. This one came from a garage in Saginaw, Michigan, played by the teenage sons of Mexican-American migrant farm workers on a second-hand Farfisa organ they could barely afford. The lead singer wouldn't give the press his real name. He called himself a question mark. Eventually, he made it legal, and to this day, he's never confirmed his real age or birth name in a single interview. The song was originally titled Too Many Teardrops before it became what we know today. We'll be together. The band pressed it themselves on a tiny local label, selling copies out of the trunk of a car, before a bigger label picked it up and wrote it all the way to number 1, making them the first Latino-led band ever to top the Billboard Hot 100. That organ riff has been copied in garage rock for almost 60 years now. People still argue whether this record invented punk before punk even had a name. If that one was about disappearing completely, this next one is about a man who couldn't hide from what he'd written, even if he wanted to. Number 8, Sunny Afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht. The Kinks' Ray Davies wrote this one recovering at his mother's house, physically and emotionally worn down from the road, humming the melody at the piano while his wife tried to get him to eat. What came out was a song about a wealthy aristocrat losing his yacht, his mansion, and nearly everything else to the taxman. Here's the irony nobody talks about. At the exact moment this song sat at number 1, the Kinks themselves were nearly broke. Banned from touring America over a musicians' union dispute, that had gutted their income for over 4 years. A song mocking the rich for complaining about losing
Got a big fat mama trying to break.
money became a massive summer hit, sung by 4 guys who genuinely had none. People sang along to it at the beach that whole summer, windows down, never quite noticing how bitter the lyrics actually were underneath that lazy, sunlit melody. It even knocked the Beatles off the top
Life of luxury, lazy.
of the UK charts. A song about a man drowning in money. Next, a song about a woman whose voice sounds like she's drowning in something else entirely. Number 7, You Keep Me Hangin' On, the Supremes. Do you still know every word to this one by heart? Holland Dozier. Holland built the entire track around one hidden detail, a guitar riff that mimics Morse code, the actual distress signal, SOS, repeating underneath Diana Ross's voice the whole way. Through. It wasn't decoration, it was an alarm bell disguised as a pop hook. It became one of Motown's most recognizable records, and it had a strange afterlife too. A psychedelic rock band called Vanilla Fudge slowed it down into something almost unrecognizable a year later, stretching it past 7 minutes. 20 years after that, Kim Wilde took her own version back to number 1, introducing it to a completely new generation who had no idea it was already 20 years old by then. One melody. 3 different decades. 3 completely different lives. If that one was a woman refusing to let go, this next one is about a man who never got the chance to. Number 6, Eleanor Rigby, The Beatles.
She keeps in a jar by the door.
No guitars, no drums. Not a single Beatle touched an instrument on this recording, just voices laid over a string octet arranged by George Martin in a style nobody had tried on a pop single before. Paul McCartney wrote it about loneliness. Real, unglamorous loneliness, the kind that doesn't resolve into a happy ending. The name itself has a strange possible origin. There's a real gravestone in a Liverpool churchyard bearing that exact name. In the same churchyard where John and Paul first met as teenagers, years
Look at him working, donning his socks in the night when the
before either of them had written a single hit song. At a time when pop music was still mostly about holding hands and dancing, this song sat with grief, isolation, and death, and named a lonely woman dying completely unnoticed.
look at all the lonely people.
Radio played it anyway. It hit number 1 as a double A side, and it quietly changed what a 3-minute pop song was allowed to be about. For good. Before we keep going, there's still a song coming up where a legendary producer called his own work the greatest thing he'd ever made in his entire life, and it barely sold enough copies in America to matter. That
Look at him working, donning his socks in the night when the
story is still ahead. From strings and silence, let's go somewhere a lot louder.
Before we continue, can I ask you for a small favor? There's something I honestly don't understand. Only about 10% of the people who watch Nostalgia Rock YT are actually subscribed. That means more than 90% of viewers enjoy the videos, listen to the music, relive the memories, and then leave without subscribing. And if I'm being honest, that can be a little heartbreaking, because these videos don't just appear. Every upload takes hours of research, fact-checking, script writing, editing, and preserving the stories behind the music we all love. We do all of that because these songs deserve to be remembered. So when thousands of people watch and enjoy the content, but only a few take a second to subscribe, it sometimes feels like the work is being appreciated, but the people behind it are being forgotten. If this channel has ever helped you rediscover a song, relive a memory, or simply made your day a little better, please take 1 second to subscribe. It's completely free, but it's the biggest way you can support what we do. Every subscription encourages us to keep going, keep creating, and keep preserving the music that means so much to all of us. Thank you for being here. Now, let's get back to the music.
Number 5. Good Lovin', The Young Rascals. This one didn't start as their song. It began as a record by the Olympics a year earlier, and it might have stayed a forgotten cover if the Young Rascals hadn't torn into it with an urgency that felt almost reckless. The spoken count-in at the start, 1, 2, 3, wasn't planned as a hook. It became one anyway. The whole track has this breathless, get-it-in-one-take energy, like the band knew they only had one shot to capture the feeling before it disappeared for good. It became a dance floor essential that summer, the kind of record that could clear a room onto its feet the second the opening beat hit. It shot to number 1 and stayed there for weeks, becoming the band's very first chart topper. Some songs are built carefully, over months. This one just barely got caught in time. Number 4. 19th. Nervous Breakdown, The Rolling Stones. Have you ever loved someone so unstable it made you reckless too? Jagger and Richards wrote this about a young woman from Money, someone falling apart under the weight of a wealthy, broken family that never gave her a chance to be steady. It's less a love song and more a character study, sketched from real society women they'd cross paths with in London at the time. Musically, the whole track builds toward one moment. Bill Wyman's descending bass slide at the very end. A single, unbroken glide down the neck that became one of the most recognizable bass notes in rock history. A 5-second detail that outlived the rest of the song in people's memory. It peaked at number 2 in the US that spring. Kept just out of the top spot by the Righteous Brothers. Money and Chaos, one more time. But this next story belongs to the producer, not the singer. Number 3. Fah, River Deep, Mountain High, Ike and Tina Turner. Phil Spector called this the best record he ever made in his entire career. He believed it so completely that he reportedly paid Ike Turner to stay out of the studio entirely, so nothing could get between him and Tina's voice. He built his full wall of sound around her. Dozens of session musicians stacked into a single wash of sound across multiple overdubbed tracks, all of it in service of one vocal performance he thought was the best he'd ever captured on tape. In the UK, it became a massive hit, climbing into the top 3. In America, it barely limped into the lower half of the charts, peaking at number 88. The failure reportedly hit Spector so hard that he pulled back from the music industry for a stretch afterward. A man convinced he'd made a masterpiece, watching his own country shrug at it completely. Sometimes the song a producer is proudest of is the one the charts never forgive him for. Number 2. Sunshine Superman, Donovan. There's a guitar on this record played by a young session musician most people hadn't heard of yet, a guy named Jimmy Page, years before he ever formed Led Zeppelin. This track is considered one of the first true psychedelic pop records ever made, but a contract dispute between Donovan's labels delayed its American release for nearly 6 months. In that gap, other artists absorbed the sound he'd pioneered and released their own versions of it first. By the time this song finally reached American shelves, some listeners heard it as an imitation of a sound it had actually invented from scratch. It still climbed all the way to #1 in the US, a genuinely original record that had to fight just to be recognized as the original. Being first doesn't always mean being remembered first, but the last song on this list needed no fighting at all. It just needed one voice brave enough to be gentle. #1, God Only Knows, The Beach Boys. There's a particular kind of quiet that only exists in a recording booth at 2 in the morning, once everyone else has gone home and one voice is left standing at the microphone. Brian Wilson wrote this song with Tony Asher during the Pet Sounds sessions, one of the most personal, fragile things he'd ever put to tape. Built around an unusual, almost classical chord structure nobody in pop music was using at the time. And then he made a decision almost no lead songwriter makes. He stepped back from singing it himself and gave the vocal to his younger brother Carl because he didn't believe his own voice could carry something this tender. That's not a small thing. That's a man handing over his most exposed moment to someone he trusted more than himself. The label even hesitated over the title. Putting the word God into a pop song felt risky for radio at the time, something that might get it quietly pulled from playlists altogether. It wasn't pulled. It became one of the most influential ballads ever recorded. Paul McCartney has called it the greatest song ever written, and its fingerprints are all over the Beatles' own Here, There, and Everywhere, composed not long after McCartney first heard it. A song almost too honest for the man who wrote it to sing himself. And somehow, 60 years later, it still knows exactly how to find you. A man pressed a record in his own garage and became the first of his kind to reach #1. A producer poured everything he had into a song and watched his own country ignore it. A songwriter couldn't bring himself to sing his most honest lyrics out loud. 1966 wasn't just a year on a calendar. It was a room full of people pouring themselves into 3 minutes of tape, never knowing if anyone would still be listening 60 years later. We are. Which one still gives you chills every single time? Tell me down in the comments. I read everyone.